And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, have we got a terrific show for you today. You know what? I say that every day, but that's because it's true every day. We do have a terrific show for you. We do our best to keep you entertained and to keep you in the know about what's going on in the world. But first off, let's let you know what the weather's all about. It's 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, and it's currently 67 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 57 degrees. And I want to tell you, we had thunder and we had lightning and we had a strong storm all night long. It's still a little gloomy outside. We've got a 40% chance of more rain right now, but who knows? Anyway, later on in the show, we'll give you some weather from our syndicated global network and let you know what's going on around the world. But right now, I want to talk to you about what's actually in the news. Actually, I want to talk to you about what's on today's show. On today's show, we're going to talk about what we always do. What's in the news? New legislation, the IRS loses, and then we're going to be doing our news segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. On today's show, our special segment, we're going to have Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos. They'll be talking about conservative politics with me, and we do that semi-weekly, every Monday and Friday. Their radio show and my radio show, we merge, and we talk to each other about conservative politics, or politics in general. You know, I don't like to say it's conservative politics because the truth is, I think for myself, and it's got nothing to do with being a Republican or a Democrat or a purple people eater. It's just the way you see it, okay? Well, we're also going to be having our own little wine drinker here today. John Hansen will be here. We're going to be talking about food and wine. We'll probably be talking about our excursion in Las Vegas last week. So we'll talk about that too. But right now, I want to talk to you about what's actually going on in the news. And right off at the top, Trump took $17 million in insurance for damage that few actually remember. You know, Donald Trump said that he received $17 million insurance payment in 2005 for hurricane damage to Mar-a-Lago, his private club in Palm Beach. But the Associated Press found little evidence of such large-scale damage. 2 years after a series of storms, the real estate tycoon said that he didn't know how much had actually been spent on repairs, that acknowledges that he pocketed some of the money. Trump transferred funds into his personal account, saying that under the terms of his policy, you didn't have to reinvest it. In a deposition in an unrelated civil lawsuit, Trump said that he got the cash from a very good insurance policy and cited ongoing work to the historic home. Landscaping, roofing, walls, painting, leaks, artwork, in the great tapestries, tiles, Spanish tiles, the beach, the erosion. He said of the storm damage, it's still not what it was. You know what? There's a lot more than what meets the eye when you start talking about Donald Trump and the stuff that's going on there. But you know, the truth is there is no truth. Whether you're talking about Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or anybody else, they tell you what they know you want to hear. It's just so you'll go out there and vote for them. The truth is that when they actually get into office, it's a pretty much a toss-up whether or not they're going to deliver what they promise. Time will tell. Well, Obama administration confirms double-digit premium hikes. Boy, nobody's going to like this. Premiums will go up sharply next year under President Barack Obama's health care law, and many consumers will be down to just one insurer. The administration just confirmed that today. That will stoke another Obamacare controversy just days before the presidential election. Before taxpayer-provided subsidies, premiums for a mid-level benchmark plan will increase an average of, get this, 25% across the 39 states served by the federally run online market, according to a report from the Department of Health and Human Services. Some states will see much bigger jumps, others less. Moreover, about 1 in 5 consumers will only have plans from a single insurer to pick from after major national carriers such as United Health Group, Humana, and Aetna scaled back their rolls. Consumers will be faced this year with not only big premium increases, but also with a declining number of insurers participating, and that'll lead to a tumultuous open enrollment period, said Larry Levitt, who tracks the healthcare healthcare law for the nonpartisan Kaiser Family Foundation. Well, doesn't sound good, does it? No. And we knew it was coming. But you know what? Until they get all the bugs out of this thing, I'm not sure how they're going to fix this. They've got to do a lot. They've got to do a lot about tort law. They're going to have to do stuff about, the cost of malpractice insurance. They're going to need to do something about indemnifying physicians and hospitals for honest errors and stop this litigious society, which is causing the increase in all these things. And then we got to do something about the pharmacare. We've got to do something about the people that are making medications and the windfall profits that they're making. It's just horrible. It's just distasteful, and it should be a crime. Well, let's talk about a poll that went out. Young voters now coming through for who? Hillary Clinton. Lane Golightly has finally decided that she'll vote for who she's going to vote for on Election Day. Hillary Clinton's not a choice the 30-year-old Republican would have predicted, nor one that excites her. But the former supporter of Ohio Governor John Kasich said it's only a choice that she can make. I kind of wish it were somebody else, somebody that I could really get behind 100%, said Golightly, an educator from Monroe, Michigan. She's voting for Clinton, she said, only because she can't stomach childish Donald Trump. So it's not necessarily a vote for Clinton. It's a vote against Donald Trump. Isn't that a shame that we're faced with really only two choices and 70% of the nation doesn't like either one of them? What's going on? I just don't get it. This is just plain crazy. Well, Trump rejects phony polls and insists we are winning, he says. A defiant Donald Trump blamed his campaign struggles on phony polls from the disgusting media today, fighting to energize his most loyal supporters as his path to the presidency shrinks. With just 14 days until the election, the Republican nominee campaigned in battleground Florida as his team conceded publicly as well as privately that crucial Pennsylvania may be slipping away to Democrat Hillary Clinton. That would leave him only a razor-thin pathway to the 270 electoral votes needed to win the White House on November the 8th. Now, despite continued difficulties with women and minorities, Trump refuses to soften his message in the campaign's final days to broaden his coalition. Yet, he offered an optimistic front in the midst of a 3-day tour through Florida as thousands began voting there in person. I believe we're actually winning, Trump declared during a roundtable discussion with farmers gathered next to a local pumpkin patch. Well, you know what? He might as well just go ahead and pick his pumpkin because that's about the only thing he's going to get out of this election, it looks like. I understand people wanting a choice, and I understand wanting to change what's going on in Washington, D.C. And nobody more than me wants to see a big shakeup. Matter of fact, Trump came out with what he would accomplish in his first 100 days in office. Not that I think he could do it, but boy, if he could do that, what a miracle it would be. And would that eventually fix a lot of the problems that we have in this country and in Washington, D.C. Just, just a shame that it probably won't happen. Doesn't look like it anyway, unless it's all media hype that I'm hearing. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the Iraqis who are on the edge of Mosul, and they face a deadly dilemma. Stay or flee? And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. And if my sister Shirley's listening, hey, good afternoon, Shirley. I love you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Well, you know what? When I left you, excuse me, we're talking about the Iraqis are on the edge of Mosul they face a deadly dilemma. It's whether to stay or whether to flee. Bayada Mohammed Khalif followed the government's advice to stay in her home with her husband and 7 children as Iraqi troops advanced near their remote village outside militant-held Mosul. But after the Islamic State fighters fled and Iraqi troops didn't appear, their tiny supply of food quickly ran out, and the family had to flee to search for territory firmly under government control. When the Mosul defensive began a week ago, departing IS fighters warned villagers to stay off the roads and surrounding fields, which the militants had mined. So, Khalif waited until she saw a passing shepherd, and then she and her family made the 8-hour walk out of no man's land behind the herd of sheep. Well, we were starving, she said. They had watched the start of the offensive on TV and thought Iraqi forces were on their way. But the troops' progress has been slow, and Mosul's southern approach is littered with dozens of villages, some no more than 20 homes in them. Well, eventually Khalif couldn't produce enough breast milk for her infant daughter. I started giving her goat's milk, but then the goat died, she said. Mosul, the largest city controlled by the Islamic State group, is still home to more than 1 million civilians, and the government and international aid groups fear that a sudden mass exodus will overwhelm the few camps set up on its outskirts. The massive offensive is expected to take weeks, if not months, and with supply routes cut off by the fighting, many civilians may not be able to stay in place for very long. Driven by fear or hunger, many are already putting themselves in grave danger and are complicating the campaign to expel the militants from the city, which fell to the IS in 2014. Boy, you know, what a shame. You know, you've heard me say it before. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just have peace on earth? Yeah, I think just the hopes for that are gone. Anyway, France is moving more than 6,000 immigrants from a makeshift camp. France began the mass evacuation today of the makeshift migrant camp known as the Jungle, a mammoth project to erase the humanitarian blight on its northern border, where thousands of fleeing war or poverty have lived in squalor, most hoping to sneak into Berlin. Before dawn broke, long lines of migrants waited in chilly temperatures and boarded buses in the port city of Calais, I pronounced it wrong, carrying meager belongings and timid hope that they were headed to a brighter future despite giving up their dreams of life across the English Channel in Britain. Closely watched by more than 1,200 police, the first of dozens of buses began transferring them to reception centers around France where they can apply for asylum. More police patrolled inside the camp, among them officers from the London police force. Authorities were expected to begin tearing down thousands of muddy tents and fragile shelters tomorrow as the migrants vacated them. What a mess. You ever wonder about the United States? You ever wonder about the free change of power, the way we elect our leaders and what goes on in this country? Don't ever let anybody tell you this isn't the greatest country on earth, because it absolutely is. We don't have the kind of things that we're facing there. I had I was going to say the privilege. It really wasn't a privilege. It was horrible. I visited Haiti, which is probably one of the poorest countries I've ever visited in my life. And now, of course, they've gone through this hurricane, Hurricane Michael, and or Matthew, I guess it is. And with that, they can't even get aid to those poor people. It's just amazing what's going on. We can find a mad cow in the middle of Wisconsin, and we can't get aid to people who are starving, who are sick. Whether they're men, women, children. This is some world we live in. Is it a world by choice? By design? Do we really mean to be this way? Gosh, isn't it depressing? Well, here's one for you. In the year of 3,000 shootings, a teen faces life beyond bullet. Well, you know what? He suddenly felt as if a hot wire had torn through his chest. It hurt to breathe. Jonathan Anix wasn't sure that he'd been shot. It was after midnight when he dashed outside his family's house to retrieve a phone charger from his car. Now, slumped over in anguish, he frantically punched his brother's number into his phone. "You might have to take me to the hospital," he gasped. "Come outside, please." He slid from the car. His legs ended up splayed across the floorboard. The top half of his body sprawled on the pavement. The driver's side window was shattered. The passenger door flung open. In the harsh glare of a street light, a baseball-sized smear of blood glistened on the center console. Jonathan had seen the gunman for just a few seconds. A hooded stranger wearing shiny earrings who bounded out of a van, stood about 6 feet away, and uttered something like, "What's up, homie?" "Run it." Jonathan opened the car door and tried to flee, but too late. The shooter fired 7 times at the 18-year-old, then sped away in the van down the lonely Chicago street. Incredibly, all the shots missed except one. Like a high-speed missile, a 9mm bullet plowed into his left shoulder, punctured both lungs, fractured his spine, and lodged in the right side of his ribcage just under his arm. As Jonathan lay on his back, neighbors were screaming, and his father, straddling him, shouted, "Who did this to you?" Jonathan reached up, tapping his father's knee to calm him. "Stop. You're giving me a headache," he said. He urged his mother, who'd run out without shoes, to get dressed as an approaching siren grew louder. Loaded into the ambulance, he closed his eyes to shut out the noise. But when he opened them, he noticed something strange. His legs were straight, but they felt as if they were bent. He instantly knew something was terribly wrong and thought this was not going to be a bullet that could be pulled out of a wound that could be stitched up. He felt super sleepy. He closed his eyes again. It was barely spring when Jonathan Anix was shot, but there already were signs 2016 was going to be a very bad year in Chicago. In the first 3 months, more than 140 people were killed. The number of shootings approached 700, nearly 90% higher than a year earlier. On the day Jonathan was hit, 8 other people were shot. By fall, the number of homicide victims approached 600. Total shootings exceeded 3000. Yeah, great world. Well, folks, we're going to take another break. When we come back, I'm going to lighten things up a little bit. We're going to talk about the IRS Loses. This ought to just send the hair up on the back of your neck, send shivers up and down your spine. We got some great cases for you. Don't go away. We got a great show waiting for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And at 3:24 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's down from 69. That's not much. It's on its way to 58 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, you know what? Right now it's 58 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, it's 54 degrees and partly cloudy. We'll give you some more of those weather reports as we move along in the show. But right now, I want to talk to you about something that you really want to hear about, and that is, the IRS loses. You know, the first case here is a tax lien on a pension is not valid against the beneficiary. So here's the deal. Richard Kelly fell behind on his taxes, and as a result, the IRS put a lien on his assets, including payments from his pension plan. Now, taking part of each, Richard's son was his pension plan beneficiary, and when Richard died, the son became entitled to payments from the plan. The IRS said that the lien still applied to Richard's plan account, so it could continue to collect on those payments that were actually supposed to go to the son. Well, the son went to court to get some justice. This is what the judge said. The plan account had not been Richard's property since he couldn't sell or transfer it while he was alive. So the lien had applied only to the money paid from the account to him as his property. And the money paid to the son is the son's property and therefore escapes the lien. You know, the IRS just keeps trying, right? Yeah, shame on them. How about this? Here's one that the IRS conceded. Now, you know what? You've heard me say it many, many times. The IRS only concedes when they're pretty doggone sure they can't prevail in court. And that's what's going on here. In this case, it's about an innocent spouse determination. And this actually happened way back in 1998. In 1998, Congress expanded the innocent spouse rules that allow that one spouse to escape tax owed on a joint return that's attributable to the other spouse. Now, the IRS then argued that its application of the new rules could not be reviewed by the tax court. However, the court ruled otherwise, saying that it has jurisdiction over such cases and can therefore overrule the IRS. Now, the IRS now has announced that it accepts this in cases where innocent spouse protection is sought after it assesses a tax deficiency. But the IRS further states that it still has the final word when no discrepancy is assessed, as is the case when a spouse seeks a refund. Let me tell you, the IRS is going to try and fight the court. Boy, I wouldn't want to be the IRS. Here's one for you. The IRS loses. A deduction that is disallowed for lack of proof is increased by the court. Yeah, listen to this. Lionel Jones claimed a charitable tax deduction of $6,045 for weekly cash contributions to two different churches. But since he had no receipts or canceled checks for him, the IRS disallowed the entire deduction. Now, Jones filed a case in tax court, and here's the decision from the judge. Jones's testimony was credible, and in addition to that, he presented letters from the two churches saying that he had contributed $3,735 and $4,466 to them respectively. That's a total of $8,201, which was more than he had deducted. Now, due to his credible testimony and this documentary support, his deduction was increased to this new figure. Now, you gotta love the court and you gotta hate the IRS. Yeah, absolutely. If you know what? If you don't hate the IRS, you're just wasting your time. That's the only thing I can say. Well, you've heard me say it many times. Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is making decisions or doing things? Well, that's where we're at with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's just a little bit like, the Twilight Zone. Well, you know, these are not actually tax court cases, or not what I'm going to give you now. The only ones that I talked about were. But these are situations where the IRS has taken a position on certain things, or they're acting in a certain way. And if you know about it, you can use it to your advantage. And in this first case, it's all about turning betting losses into business losses. Now, you may not have to be a full-time professional gambler to get a tax break from gambling losses. Now, in a recent tax court decision, the court actually ruled that an individual could deduct losses from horse race betting as a business loss. How did they do it? The taxpayer pursued the activity regularly and with continuity and operated in a business-like manner. Now, here's something that's essential for this. For any business loss to be deductible, the taxpayer must prove a profit motive. Now, as long as you continue to try something new to make a profit, it's hard for the IRS to argue that you lacked a profit motive. Now, it may be possible to sustain a tax-deductible loss from casino activity. If you keep very accurate records, visit casinos on a regular basis, and can establish via your records that you changed betting strategies in an effort to generate profits, even if you are not a professional gambler. Now, how's that make you feel? Yeah, there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and it may not be an oncoming train. Yeah. How about this? How about when you lend money to your employer? You ever think about that? Well, although it's not common, there are times when an employee will provide working capital to his or her employer. Now, if the debt is not repaid, the loss will generally be treated as a short-term capital loss limited to an annual deduction of $3,000. Now, there's a better option here, though. Claim the loss as an itemized deduction. Now, you call that a bad debt from the employer on Schedule A, if you can establish that the primary purpose of making that loan was to protect the payment of your salary. Now, take note here, though. Be aware that taking the deduction may trigger alternative minimum tax, so check with your financial advisor before you go in that direction. That's for sure. Well, we're going to take one more short break right now, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos. We're going to do our semi-weekly simulcast. I think we're going to be talking about WikiLeaks today. I'm not sure, but certainly it'll be about politics, and that's for certain. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. Jon Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:35 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 55 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 70 degrees, it's clear, and you are one lucky son of a gun. Well, we're waiting for John and Joe to connect with us on our simulcast. That should be taking place any second now. In the meantime, I want to remind you that we have an app out there. It's absolutely free. Just go to your web store, your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live. Download that into your phone or your computer or your iPad or whatever you're using. And you can listen to our show 24/7. Anytime that's convenient for you, you can listen to us live if we're on live like we are right now. And we'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about that app. You know, they'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And here we are with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, my friend?
Hey, you know what? Did it rain where you were at? We had thunderstorms here last night.
Oh, well, you know, I'm deaf, so once I take my hearing aid out, I don't hear thunderstorms.
Well, you know what? I don't hear out of one ear and I'm deaf in the other ear. But it was lightning and thunder and rain coming down. Animals were lining up 2 by 2. I was waiting for somebody to kill the 2 mosquitoes that went by. You know, that was a joke.
Well, I sleep through earthquakes, so, you know,
Well, you know what? I envy you, John.
Oh, well, it's just, I don't know. I just have one of those. I think the chemical they talk about is, what's it called? Dopamine or something like that?
Yeah, dopamine.
Yeah, the ability to, I'm wherever I'm at. I guess I learned it in the military. You just learn, you sleep when you get the chance, because when you wake up, you may not be able to sleep again for a while. And it's just something over the years. I don't know. I can fall asleep anywhere if I want to.
Boy, I heard that, buddy. Hey, listen, I understand you want to talk a little bit about WikiLeaks today. Well, yeah,
we're kind of traveling a little bit of a gauntlet today. And I guess you know, Joe, let's do this. Joe, let's talk about the Gettysburg speech by Donald Trump. Did you hear that and listen to that at all, Bob?
I only heard the trailer for it. I didn't get to hear it at all, no.
Okay, well, Joe points something out in it that I think is very relevant. The fact that he said, I don't know how much more Donald Trump has to sound conservative before people realize that he's better than Hillary. Is that what you were saying, Joe?
Yeah, it's pretty much it. I mean, when he states that he wants to put a freeze on all government hiring across the board.
Joe, is this when he actually talked about what he was going to try to accomplish in his first 100 days?
Yeah, that would be the entire Gettysburg speech. Yes.
Then I did hear it.
Okay, all right. So, well, Joe, go ahead and fill us in on it, because I have to be honest, I missed most of it.
Well, I mean, he talked about that, basically, which is basically what? Limiting the size and scope of government.
Yeah.
And, you know, he talked about getting rid of the EPA regulations and trying to grow the economy and this and that. And it's like, wow, I listened to it, and it's like, what's this guy? You know, it's like, if this would have been Jebby or Marco, people would have been, oh yeah, what a conservative guy. But it's Donald Trump, and it's like, oh, he sucks. He said bad words 11 years ago.
You know, the interesting thing, Joe, is that what a wonderful accomplishment if it could ever be done. I don't think any of it could be done in the first 100 days, or even the first 4 years or 8 years or whatever it might turn out to be or not turn out to be. Truth is, he's everything he said. I mean, didn't you just get a chill up and down your spine when he talked about term limits for congressmen and senators and all the rest of the stuff with regard to immigration and how he was going to handle that, and the truth about how he was going to handle the wall? And you know, he gave a tremendous insights that hopefully somebody was listening to.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about 1.8 million dead people are registered to vote.
Yeah,
I mean. So, and you go, how can they talk about it not being rigged? You got 1.8 million dead people are registered to vote. You got 2.8 million people are registered in more than one state. You got 14% of non-citizens are registered to vote, for crying out loud. He's going, how can it not be rigged? How can you say there's not voter fraud? There won't be any chance of voter fraud out there. I mean, the stuff he was saying is like, yeah, and it's what, again, it's what people have been saying all along. But you can't. But
Joe, here's the thing: about a million people die every year that have Social Security numbers or that are registered to vote, and that million people don't come off the rolls right away. Now, if we can actually find a mad cow in the middle of Wisconsin, or if we can hack into all these computers, you think that somebody can't hack in and get those names and those registrations and take advantage of it? I think you'd be naive to think we couldn't.
Well, Hillary Clinton admits it to herself. She said it the other day at the debate when she said, you've got undocumented immigrants that are paying in Social Security. Well, if they're paying in Social Security, you're only doing it one way, and that's by identity theft.
Yeah.
Well, let me just for a moment here play the devil's advocate on this thing. Because this is something I'm concerned. One of the things we're concerned about right now is the fact that the federal government is using cyberspace threats, the threat of cyber hacking and everything else, to justify having the federal government step in and basically provide national oversight throughout the states. That's how they're going to put it. We're just here to make sure everything is on the up and up. And all those disenfranchised voters get to vote, and we don't have voter fraud and everything else. That's the way they would justify it. But what it really comes down to, and we talk about this, about voter, dead voters and voter rolls needing to be cleaned up and everything else, and the idea that people move. We know back in 2012 that there were a couple of people in Colorado, Bob Bennett, I believe it was, got caught with his operatives out there taking absentee ballots out of dumpsters at universities. The students weren't there anymore, and they were pulling them out of the dumpsters. So we know the fraud is there. My concern is that we buy into the narrative that we need federal oversight to stop this. See, that's where I come from when I look at this stuff and I say, yeah, there's a problem, and yes, something needs to be done. But the last people you want involved in this is the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll just put up even more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I think what it needs to be is that there needs to be something generated at the state levels where, you get, and maybe start out with some of these Republican-controlled states and have people down there saying down at the state level, yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's clean the rolls up. Let's make it mandatory, that kind of thing. And I think one of the other solutions is to eliminate online voting, online registration, absentee ballots, unless you're overseas in the military or something like that. But just because you're going to be at the Gaga concert on voting day and you want to just mail your ballot in so you don't miss it, that kind of stuff needs to be eliminated.
Hey, John, hang on a second. I wasn't aware that they had online voting.
Yeah, some states do. Yeah, there's some states out there do have online voting. I think Indiana was one of them.
Well, how can these secretaries of state say that they're not utilizing the internet and it can't be hacked if they're using online voting?
Exactly. So here's my point on this: is John? I guess being in California, you would have this assumption, but this has been done before in Republican-led states, and all that happens is it goes to court, and the Democrats get some judge out there to throw this crap out. It's happened here in Florida. It's happened in North Carolina. It's happened in Texas. It's happened in Tennessee. Every time you turn around, you try to do exactly what John said. And they turn right around and say, you're trying to just limit voters. You're just trying to limit access to voting and all that. It's in the WikiLeaks emails. I was just reading it from Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yeah, well, there's nothing more threatening to our republic than a disenfranchised dead voter.
Yeah, I guess this really isn't a dead issue, is it? There's so many things going on now that my head is spinning from all the stuff that's going on. The truth is, I used to say I couldn't tell the difference between the truth and the lie. Well, now I can tell the difference because nobody's telling me the truth. Everything I'm hearing is a lie.
Yeah, you just hit on something, Bob. We got to go to our break here. When we come back, because I mentioned it earlier in the show, and I want to get your take on this. The idea here that nothing out there that we're hearing anymore can be believed. And so what's a voter to do when you know that you're being lied to by everybody, even the people that you're supporting to a great degree? We'll talk about that when we get back here. We got to go to our break, and we'll continue.
And we'll be right back with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakels after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. It hasn't changed. It's still 68 degrees. We got thunderstorms mounting up outside. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, it's 52 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, listening to our show, it's 46 degrees and mostly cloudy. Well, you know what? We're waiting for John and Joe to call back in and reconnect for us on our simulcast. And while they do, I'm just going to remind you one more time, go out and get that app and tell your friends about it. It's absolutely free. Just go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, download it, and you'll be able to listen to us 24/7 at your own convenience. We'd appreciate it, and we know that your friends would appreciate it as well. You know, we've been talking. I know that John asked me something about how do you tell when people are lying to you, especially if they're politicians. I can tell you, you can always tell. Their lips are moving. That's what happens. That's how you know when they're lying to you. Anyway, they should be calling in here any second here. It's sometimes it's hard to fill the air. There we go. We got them right now. So we're back with John and Joe. Yeah. Hey, guys.
Yeah, you get the legwork done. You've got to go out and find this stuff out yourself and actually quit relying on all these. So, you know, it would be great if all the media outlets just shut down tomorrow.
Well, guess what, John? It's what you're supposed to have been doing all along any damn way.
Yeah, I get it. So, yeah, but, you know, Robert said something here just before the break here. Because it does. It makes your head spin sometimes. You get on here like I was talking about the polls earlier. And you get on and, you know, the headlines I see, over the weekend, the LA Times has this thing virtually tied between now LA Times, a leftist rag, almost as left as you get out here saying, well, their polls are telling them this thing is virtually tied. You get somebody like Rasmussen. Rasmussen has nothing to gain by skewing the poll numbers. And they say, okay, Trump's ahead by 2. Gallup comes out and says, oh, okay, Trump's ahead by 1. And then you go to ABC, Washington Post, and Hillary's winning by 12 points.
Yeah.
And you have to look and say, you know, you see this and go, what the hell?
The interesting thing is when let's forget about the Washington Post for a minute, and think about all these ones that are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 percentage point difference. The truth is that is an absolute neck to neck tie. If the numbers were real, you know what? I don't think there are any real numbers out there. In the Washington Post, they just manipulate the numbers any way they want, and they hate Trump anyway. Ever since I think they were the first newspaper that Trump castigated, aren't they?
Well, we were mentioning here at the beginning of our show today, this ABC Washington Post poll came out today. Hillary Clinton ahead by 12 points. And, nobody pays particular attention to how they come to those results. I do. Whenever I see a poll out there, I want to know what the actual poll says, what the questions were, how many people they interviewed or surveyed. Were these likely voters? Were these adults? Were these registered voters? And then,
or were they dead voters?
Yeah, well, you know how many people they polled in this ABC poll? 76 people.
Oh, gee.
Okay, and 37 of them were Democrats. So it's kind of like when you look at that and you go, when you put things in those perspectives, you're saying, well, geez, this is lying. Now you go to some place like the LA Times, who at least has upped the numbers and said, okay, we polled about 550 people, likely voters or registered voters, and they come out and they say, well, this thing is a dead heat right now. You can't tell one way or the other. But I always see what I've learned to do now is I go by what I see the campaign out there doing. Right now, what you see Clinton's campaign out there doing, they're talking about the down ballot. They're trying to give the impression we've already got this thing locked. Now we got to go after the Senate. Hillary Clinton's out there going into red states right now, going into Arizona, going into Texas.
Yeah, but John, you realize that there's a psychological advantage to what she's doing there. The psychological advantage, and I think you and I talked about this last week, and that is that there are a lot of people that don't vote their conscience. They don't vote what's best for them. They don't even necessarily vote what's best for the country. They vote because they want to be able to say, hey, I voted for the winner, and if she gets these people to believe that she's going to be the winner, it's not that they like her or don't like Donald Trump. They want to vote for who they say was the winner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was funny. I heard one of the headlines I saw this weekend was, it's now out in the open. Sexism is now out in the open. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean? We knew this was going to be the Clinton campaign from the onset. Yeah. It was going to be the woman card. It was going to be the gender card. It was going to be let's emasculate and let's castrate every man in America because they don't know what they're doing. We knew that was coming down to that. And then as they start lining up the sexual allegations and all that, find 12 women in a matter of a couple of weeks that have been quote unquote sexually assaulted. And the latest one is
in public places, John.
Yeah. Well, the latest one's a crack up. Jessica Drake, a porn star. A porn star complaining that Donald Trump offered her $10,000 to spend a night. Hey, woman, that's a month's salary for you. And I'm like, come on, let's get it on here. Let's tell the truth. A porn star is upset that she was offered money for sex. I mean, this world, I like the world that I grew up in a lot better than I do this one, although this one's got a lot more excitement in it, I guess. I'm thinking, what alley did Gloria Allred go down to find this one?
Oh, is this another client of Gloria Allred's?
Yes. Oh yeah, this is the late. She has brought up 3 women here in the last week and a half. This is the Schwarzenegger campaign all over again.
Yeah.
Remember how that came down? The Meg Whitman. 2 weeks before the election, what happens? We find out that Meg Whitman employed an undocumented Democrat as a mayor. All right? Yeah. And killed Meg Whitman's campaign. They've got these women out here. I mean, Gloria Allred, in my opinion, makes Nancy Pelosi look like Mother Teresa. So anyway, but here's something else here along with the dialogue that we're going along right now here. Mm-hmm. I found an article this morning by Andrew Harnick out at the Associated Press, and he's talking about they're talking about early voting. We were talking about early voting, absentee, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out. She's over the weekend. She's in someplace in Cleveland. Okay, in the first 4 days of in-person early voting here in Ohio, more people showed up to vote than they did at the same time in 2012 in our last election. Now, what that sounds like, the illusion is, people are rushing to the polls to vote for Hillary Clinton. All right, we've got more voters showing up this time than we did in 2012. I'm sitting there going, what planet do you live on that you've got more people rushing to the polls to vote for Hillary Clinton than Barack Obama?
Yeah.
I mean, are we living in the land of Oz yet, or what?
Well, John, I actually heard one of these reporters, the media guys, say something about, they were talking about the increase in the number of people that had registered to vote. And, you don't know who they voted for or did the early voting. All you know is what their, political affiliation is. And they had the gall to say that a lot of these Republicans that were showing up early for voting were really there to support Hillary. Now, how do they know what the heck is going on in that ballot box?
Well, see, that's the point that Mr. Harnick over the Associated Press points out here. He says, while it's all true that the 5 largest counties in Ohio have, at this point in time, had more people show up than they did in 2012, they're still 40% below the actual count of people that showed up and voted early last time around. It's just time more people showed up earlier, but the actual number is behind. And he says, so they're not telling you that. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you that the mail-in requests are down by 12%. In counties carried by Mitt Romney, they're only down 7%. And he goes on to say Democrats are only at 53% of their early vote total from 2012. But the line is handed out there. We've got more people showing up earlier to vote. Therefore, we must be winning. And then he goes on to say, but the problem is, nobody knows if these Democrats are showing up to vote for Trump any more than they know if Trump Republicans are showing up to vote for Hillary.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Nobody knows right now where this thing is going because we know this election cycle has transgressed partisanship and political party affiliation. We have a lot of Republicans who think that Donald Trump's a nasty guy, okay? Didn't seem to care about Bill Clinton being a nasty guy, but Donald Trump is a nasty guy. And we've got a lot of Democrats that are saying Hillary Clinton, well, I wouldn't trust her with my, with my pooper scooper.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking at the clock here. Hey, we're out of time.
I don't know how that happens, but in any event, John, this is really a great show. I want to thank you and Joe. I love it when we have a nice conversation like this one. I want to remind everybody that we're on the air every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We don't want to interfere with John's people. So you know what? If you are listeners to John, just get my app. Listen to my show right after his show, and if you're on my show, don't forget to listen to John on his website. Hey guys, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, take care. All right, guys.
And we're going to be back with our own John Hansen, that little old wine drinker, right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
When they ask who's a fool in the corner crying, I say, a little old wine drinker me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, Jon Hansen.
Hey, I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's funny going down. It's 64 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It was raining here. We had thunder and lightning storms last night. You know what? We're down from 68 degrees on the way to 58 degrees, but I can tell you if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Torrance, California, it's 69 degrees and it's overcast. If you're in Wichita, Kansas listening to us, it's 76 degrees and partly cloudy, but I'll tell you, no clouds ever wander over the head of our little old wine drinker, Jon Hansen. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing terrific. God, I just, we didn't have a live show last Monday. I wish we had, because you and I'd have been on it together. It would have just been phenomenal what we had to say.
Well, we've probably been sleeping through half of it.
You know what? Boy, you know what? You and your lovely wife, Raina, and my wife, Marlene, and I, we were in Las Vegas for the release party for Terra Roja in Mellowwood Wineries. And boy, what a weekend. Wow.
What?
You there?
Weekend, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Before we get into that, Bob, I just can't take this anymore. This, what do you call it? Rain. Yeah, rain. That's what it is. And,
is that what that stuff is?
well, the reason why I wanted to bring it up, it's crazy because, we live in a, unique, situation here. We have about a half-inch rain. That gives us about 3 inches for the last 5 years, I think, or something like that. But what happens, there's a lot of oil residue and a lot of stuff that goes on the freeway and gets there. So when it does rain, it does become slippery, and it's crazy. Some people out there just driving, just doing 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, maniacs.
Just maniacs. And there's two types of drivers. And I have property up in Victorville, so I'm always going down the 15. And it's strange when I go home, the fast lane seems to be going slower than the slow lane, because you got some guy doing 50 in the fast lane, 80 just going through traffic trying to get by.
But I tell you, when it does rain, I mean, slow down. The speed limit, it's either 55, 65, 70. Stay within the speed limits, especially when it's raining. If it's a downpour, get to the slow lane. And it's funny because we had this conversation driving out to Vegas where, in Germany, that would never happen on the Autobahn. You go to the far right, let cars pass, stay out of the fast lane. And it is just crazy.
Yeah. And,
there's just crazy drivers out there. And the reason I brought it up is because when we, went out to Vegas, it was like I had a target on my back, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'll be driving, somebody would just pull right in front of us, or, it was like almost smash up derby there. It was just crazy.
And the interesting thing, John, is that had it been raining and the roads been slick and that idiot or those idiots pull those kind of stunts, it really seriously would have caused an accident, because if you'd have hit the brakes, the car wouldn't have stopped.
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, we have that all over residue because, most people that live in the rest of the United States, I get rain a couple times a month or so, some a little more, some a little less. But, down here in Southern California, as I said, we're lucky to get, a couple inches a year at that. And, it's funny because, what do we have? About a half inch, 3/4 inch if we're lucky. Yeah. And it just goes crazy. And it's funny because I grew up in upstate New York, and, the schools didn't close until there was like 2 feet of snow on the ground. And, we had snow tires and stuff. We never put chains on the tires. And you go up like towards the mountain and you get a dusting of snow. The place on the side, you got to have, you have to have 4-wheel drive or chains on your tires. And I'm like, it's like a half an inch of snow on the ground. What is going on? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, my friend.
You know what? In dry weather, Californians really know how to drive a car, because it's almost like they're on the speedway, right? But in wet weather or inclement weather, they're horrible because they forget that it's dangerous.
Oh, and we have, these highways that are like 8 lanes long, and during rush hour, we're doing about 5 miles an hour. So,
it's the biggest parking lot you can imagine.
Oh, and you talk about road rage, why is Southern California number one road rage? Because everybody's just going crazy. As I say, you got this guy driving 50 in the fast lane, the other guy doing 95 in the slow lane, and everybody's just going over the place. It's like smash up derby contest there. But, it was an interesting drive to Vegas for our nice little getaway last weekend. But I tell you, we met some great people there.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we'll talk about, Bobby D and the dinner and Linda and so forth. But we met this lovely couple, Dan and Sandy.
Oh, yes.
And interesting people. Now, Dan's on the board for Linetti and Rumbauer as well. And that was a couple wines we had at Bob's dinner. And not to get too far ahead of myself, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what just a fascinating gentleman this guy was.
Yes.
I mean, you talked to him most of the night. Tell me about his history. I mean, you guys were talking all night long.
I got to tell you,
we can get him on the show.
Yeah, and he gave me his card, and I promised him that I'd contact him and would put him on the show. What an interesting man. We didn't talk too much about his background, although he's on a number of boards, and things like that. We talked about those kinds of issues, but just getting his insight and his thoughts about the world and what was going on in local politics and those kinds of things. He was just really fascinating, the perspective he came from, and a very articulate man. I really, really enjoyed talking to him. Matter of fact, what we ought to do is we ought to talk about, we were at Bobby V's house, and this was the Las Vegas Country Club. And we went in, and Bobby was hosting us for a magnificent dinner of barbecued halibut, salad and vegetables and just everything you can think of, and magnificent wines. And there was, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 7 of us. 7 or 8 of us, right?
7 well, let's see. It was Dan and Sandy, you, Marlene, Bob. Bob. Yeah. Raina and myself. And so, it was basically three couples and Bob.
And we were sitting outside in his pool area. It was just absolutely a gorgeous evening. And the food started coming, the conversation started going. I actually have no idea what the heck time we even left there, to be honest with you. It was just phenomenal.
Well, all I knew is that we were supposed to meet up with Linda and her crew because she had already made plans way in advance. So she had to, of course, go with that. And, by the time we were done, it was like, we're going nowhere. We're going home.
Yeah.
And falling asleep.
You know what? But with that in mind, and I know it was late. I don't remember how late it was, but with that in mind, the next morning we all had to get up. As a matter of fact, we were all waken up by these messages that were beeping on our phones, telling us to get out of bed. Linda sent them to all of us because she was hosting us for breakfast at Bouchon for the Sunday brunch, right? And I'm thinking,
what was funny was that she texted me and then I text you and Roy. Oh, Roy was there too. So it was 8 of us because we forgot Roy.
Yeah.
We forgot Roy about his business.
Oh, that's right.
Because I sent Lynn texted me early morning, get your party going and stuff like that. So, I mean, when have we never been on time?
Yeah.
We've always been on time. I go, okay, but Linda's being Linda. She's this, so that's how she is. Type A first word. And it was fun because I like it in Vegas. At least I like Linda in Vegas than in Napa Valley because when it's at her house, she really freaks out, at least she's not cooking and so forth. So,
with all due respect, she's a wonderful host, and boy, did she treat us really, really nicely. And I can understand the pressure that she was feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because when we did get into Vegas, we had a nice little lunch at the Baja Cantina there,
right,
at South Point.
Yeah. And
the one thing I want to mention about do we have enough time before we go on break?
Yeah, we just got 7 minutes yet.
Oh, okay, great. What I love about South Point, I mean, one is one of our favorite restaurants of all time is now at South Point, Michael's, of course. But they do have the Silverado Steakhouse, the Vito's, the Italian restaurant. And we had this great little lunch when we got in at Baja Cantina there.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. Then we took a little break, and then, we did the Bobby B's dinner there. And then we,
John, I had never stayed at South Point before. And what a magnificent hotel. And you know what? To be able to get out of the hustle and bustle of the Strip or even downtown Vegas, it was so peaceful and so nice there.
It's fun because it's actually on the Strip, but it's like, 5 miles down the Strip, where you don't have the hustle, and especially busy times when you're on the Strip, you can move maybe a quarter mile in an hour and a half. I can't stand it. And, I came across a mutual friend of ours, Ron Gill, turned me on to this hotel. And I love it. It's close enough to everything, but far enough away where you don't have that congestion. But yet it has everything you want there. There's bowling alleys. There's movie theaters. There's a spa. There's a workout gym. There's everything there. And it's just a 5-minute ride to where everything is. So, I mean, it's whenever I go to Vegas, I always try to stay there because you don't have that congestion. Yeah. And now they have trams going everywhere because it's so congested. Yeah. And everybody out there who's never been to Vegas, do not drive down the Strip.
No, boy, absolutely
Half your vacation is going to be sitting in the car driving down the Strip, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just horrible. But before we get into Bouchon, Bobby B's party, I tell you, the food was amazing.
Yeah. And
what was great, we all pitched in. Marlene did the salad.
Yep.
He called us when we were at the, at the Baja Cantina having lunch, and he said, well, what do you need? And we told him what we needed. And Marlene did that. Sandy did the corn and the vegetables. Bob did the halibut, and he, and
you and I drank the wine. We all did our part, right? We all did our part. Yeah.
We all did our part. But it was just amazing. But I tell you, that halibut was unbelievable. And the pairing, as I said, I'm not a big Rombauer fan.
Well, you know what? Marlene likes the Rombauer Chardonnays.
I mean, it's a big Chardonnay, and honestly, it's one of the top. I think it's number 2 selling Chardonnay. So I mean, everybody loved it. It's kind of like the Kendall Jackson BR, the Vintners Reserve there.
Yeah.
Everybody loved it. But we had the Rombauer Reserve.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you think, okay, maybe this is even going to be bigger than Rombauer, but it was more Burgundian. I mean, it wasn't as big an oak. There was much more going on. It had acid. It wasn't flabby. And with the halibut and the crab, Bob did this crab spring thing.
Oh yeah,
which, it was good, but I'd rather just have the halibut.
I would have too. I would have too. Yeah. It was too rich with the crabs, the imperial crab thing that he did. But boy, that halibut was so moist and so nice, man.
And I tell you, probably one of the corn was one of the best I ever had. The sugar snap peas. You know, it's funny. We should do a debate, maybe. Put it up there and everybody call in or text or something. How do you like your sugar snap peas? You like them cooked? You like them really al dente? I like them al dente. It was cooked, but still, I mean, it was still crispy. Yeah. As long as it's not over, where it just kind of wilts, you know, then I can eat those things. But I mean, everything was just perfect. But yeah, you know, the crab was nice. The crab went better with the Chardonnay because the halibut maybe would be a little light for that Chardonnay. You know, I maybe would have done something else. But that crab with the Chardonnay and halibut was a classic pairing. Just unbelievable. And then we had this incredible dessert. And I think Sandy did more of the cooking than Bob did, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Well, even when he was doing the that crab imperial, Sandy was looking right over his shoulder, helping him with, hey, now do this, now do that. You know, and I think Sandy, and I believe, and I don't want to take away from Bobby because he's a terrific host, but I also believe that Sandy told him how to barbecue that halibut so that it wouldn't dry out on him.
She did definitely. And it was funny because it was for dessert. Bobby found a recipe. I forgot how he got it. He told us how he got it, but it was his mom's recipe for this. It was like a lemon pound cake, but with pudding, so it was moister than just a pound cake. It wasn't dry. Yeah. But my gosh, we had Chateau Girard. Premier Krug. Now, of course, there's only one Grand Krug Sauterne, and of course, it's Chateau Yquem. But I mean, there's a number of Premier Krugs, and we have Chateau Suderade, you have Venet Remu, you have Chateau Girard as well, Premier Krug Sauterne. And this I love. We actually have that by the glass because it is bang for the buck, the best Premier Krug Sauterne there is. They don't rake you over the coals for it. And with that lemon pound cake, unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, it was just a unbelievable night. And we were a little too, because, we drove, we had, we had some margaritas, of course, at the Baja Cantina.
Well, margaritas that were provided to us free of charge.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they taste even better.
Yeah, they didn't water them down either. I mean, when we checked into the hotel, they gave us these little booklets, and they were all kinds of, get this free, get that free, and one of the things was these free margaritas at the Mexican restaurant. Sat down and bam, I mean, and they were good.
The only thing we do this next year, if she does it in Vegas next year, the only thing that we're probably going to have to do is stay another day and have dinner at Michael's.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Marlene? My wife, Marlene, if she could have possibly been disappointed, that's the only thing that would have disappointed her was the fact that we did not have dinner at Michael's.
I think Raymond's the same way.
Yeah. And she even said, next time, come hell or high water, if we have to go earlier, we are going to go to Michael. I said, okay, all right.
And I know we have to take a break in a few minutes, but we've got to tell the story about Michael's as well, how it actually wound up at South Point.
Well, let's hold that because we got to take a break. Let's do that when we come back, and then when you're done with that, we can move right into Bouchon, okay?
Awesome.
Okay, so we're talking to our little old wine drinker, Jon Hansen, and we're going to be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. We got a lot of funny stuff for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, the weather's starting to go down at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're listening to us in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 76 degrees and it got scattered clouds. And if you're listening to us in Hong Kong, it's 77 degrees with light rain showers. You know what? We've got our own little old wine drinker with us, Jon Hansen. Hey, John, you got the microphone, my friend. You were going to talk about the story about Michael's and from how they got from their original location that was at the Barbary Coast to where they're at now at South Point.
Exactly, and it's a great story. Of course, Michael has been an icon for almost 50 years. I think it's been around.
You know, and in my opinion, the very best restaurant in Las Vegas.
Oh, I mean, it's been there for so long, and as I said, it's been an icon for restaurants for 40 years probably. And great story. There's three gentlemen that owned, well, of course, South Point now, but Gold Coast, Barbary Coast, and
the Orleans, I think, yeah.
Orleans. And one of the partners decided that he was getting older and he wanted to kind of get out, but what he offered his other partners was, listen, you take all the hotels and I keep South Point. And his favorite restaurant, of course, was Michael's. So we went to the staff at Michael's because the Barbary Coast was going to close. And what is it now? We went by there. It was some.
It's. I don't know what the heck it is now.
It's some convention thing or something now, but it was going to close. So he went to the entire staff at Michael's and said, listen, and this was actually before South Point actually opened. They were building South Point. And he said, Barbary Coast is going to close. He goes, and this is only going to happen if 100%, every single employee, from the dishwasher to the busboy to the general manager to the chef, if everybody's aboard, we'll do this. But there's one person that doesn't want to do it, it's not going to happen. And what he did, he paid them their salary, what they made, for almost 2 years to not go anywhere else. And when Michael's opened, the exact staff would come back and open Michael's. And they built Michael's at South Point. They actually took the door off the front, which was kind of famous. I mean, when you walked in Barbary Coast, you saw that door, which was a trademark for Michael's.
And the Tiffany ceiling.
Oh, exactly. And they redid the ceiling. It's almost identical to what it was back during the years. A little more updated, of course. But he basically just took that entity and brought it to South Point. And as it says, it's probably our favorite restaurant in Vegas. Oh, yeah. Kind of old school. They still have the tableside service. We have the bone de doper sole, card the Chateaubriand, and just some incredible. They do, the Cherries Jubilee and Banana Fosters, and at the end of the night you have the pithy thirds of the chocolate, and the fruit bowl comes there if you want a little fruit and everything. And they're standing. I think it's like 2 waiters per table. Where I mean, you start to get out. And they pull your chair right out, or they give you a nice little relish tray, and you take an olive, you put the pit down on the side plate. They come and take the side plate and give you a new side plate. The service is second to none there. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and the food is phenomenal.
The food is just unbelievable, and I'm one of the blessings the guy that did this and everybody agreed to, because it is an icon. So restaurants been there for ages, and still is one of the top restaurants there. It is still available, and not too many people know that Michael's now is at South Point. So I mean, that's why I love staying at South Point. You have Michael's there. It's a perfect distance from where you have to do, where you're not stuck in traffic. And they got everything there, and some great other restaurants, so you don't have to eat at Michael's every night. Like I said, the deals is amazing. Silver Ale Steakhouse, great steaks there. You can spend a nice weekend there and not even move from that hotel, and you have an incredible stay. But you have to go to Michael's. Yeah. You have to go to Michael's for sure. And that's what we're going to do next time we go. If it's in Vegas, we may have to just stay another night and go to Michael's.
Well, you know what? Staying another night might not be such a bad idea, considering that the day that we were leaving, we didn't even get into our rooms till after 2:00 in the morning.
Oh God! It's funny because Raina, the alarm went off at 7:30, and she looked and she goes, "At 7:30, do you want to get up?" And I looked at her, not at 7:30. I was lucky to get out by checkout time. To tell you the truth.
So let's talk about Bouchon.
Okay, Bouchon. Absolutely. It's tradition. She always has her brunch at Bouchon. And, we always get the pâté. This time, Linda actually did pâté for the table. She had pâté on the table. I did the croque madame. You had the eggs Benedict.
I had the eggs Benedict. And
Marlene went light with like a salad or something.
No, I think she had French toast.
Oh, did she have French toast?
Yeah.
I thought I saw something. Maybe she had a salad and I guess maybe it came with the French toast.
Yeah.
But you were actually a little disappointed, though.
You know what? I was not going to say anything, John, but since you brought it up, I've got to tell you, I've eaten at Bouchon 2 or 3 times, and I've been disappointed every time. And I think that's a restaurant that Michael Keller probably ought to be ashamed to have his name on. I don't think he spends much time there, and I didn't think, Raina had Eggs Benedict. I had Eggs Benedict. Somebody else, I think, had Eggs Benedict too. They brought those out first, and then they just very slowly brought the rest of the plates. By the time we were able to eat, when people had their food, it was cold, and the quality of the Eggs Benedict really, the hollandaise was broken, and all kinds of, it was just kind of a disappointment. But I'll tell you what, that pate, that goose liver pate was phenomenal. That was good. They brought it out with toast points. That was really good.
Yeah. And, I've been, there's several Bouchons, Napa Valley, I had one of the best experiences up there. And I've had good experiences at Vegas as well, but you're right. I mean, my crockery was okay. Nothing, I love the truffle fries too, but I mean, you're right. Thomas Keller should go there and see what is going on there. It's not what it should be. It's not a Thomas Keller restaurant. That should be phenomenal. And, it's too bad, but it was what it was worth, and we had a good time there.
Yeah, and that was just exactly what I was going to say. In spite of all of that, I mean, we all ate. We didn't leave there hungry, and we all had a wonderful time.
Oh, incredible time. And then, of course, we went home, freshened up, watched all of the football games, and then went to an unbelievable dinner where we had the 2013, which was exceptional. I mean, just amazing. Tierra Roja for an hour and a half. I still don't know how they just charged $75 for the dinner we had. Yeah. And we've been going over to dinner so many times, so it was some items are better than others, but still, it was a great experience. All the wines were paired very nicely. I mean, they had several vintages of Terra Roja. They had her other winery, Mellowwood, and Fairplay.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you have it in front of you. I've got the whole menu in front of me, John.
You want to go over our menu again?
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. When we started off with hors d'oeuvres, just a variety of hors d'oeuvres with the introduction of the 2013 Terra Roja.
And a nice little cheese plate too. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was really terrific. Then the dinner featuring the Terra Roja and the Mellowwood wines, they had a citrus shallot marmalade and a grilled baguette, and they served the Mellowwood Zinfandel, the 2013, with that, and that was really, really good. And then you know what they served right after that I really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, I hate to even admit this, John. I ate mine and I ate Marlene's too. They had rabbit with the wild mushroom fricassee with the sage dumplings, and she served the Terra Roja Cabernet, the 2011, with that. Boy, that was really, really good. And then and after, I'm sorry, go ahead. You're going to say something?
Well, yeah, it was funny because 11, not really good year. It's funny. Nobody wants 11s, but Linda mentioned, and it's funny because it was an off year. Yeah. But there were some wines that were just amazing. And of course, Linda's Terra Roja, the 11 was one of the highest rated wines, she told me.
Yeah.
Because everybody else's 11s were horrible, but her 11 was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was
phenomenal.
It was really good. And then right after that, she served the pan-roasted quail breast with crispy legs, in a salsify puree, and boy, with a currant reduction. Boy, that was good. She served the Mellowwood Syrah, the 2013, with that. And that was really good too. I mean, I had a heyday because, Marlene, actually, her stomach was a little upset. I got to eat my dinner and most of hers. So I left there, I must have gained 5 pounds out of there.
Well, Bob, unfortunately, Raina's stomach was perfectly fine that evening, so I didn't get to reap the benefits as you did.
Well, after the quail, we had the herb marinated beef tenderloin with smoked marrow bordelaise, and boy, caramelized cipollini onions and Parisienne root vegetables. And with that, she served the Terra Roja Cab, the 2012. That was just unbelievable. Now, Unfortunately, Marlene ate the doggone beef tenderloin. I could have eaten more of that, And then for dessert, we had a spiced chocolate torte with a roasted fruit soup, and she served the Terra Roja Cabernet Sauvignon, the 2007 with that. Can you imagine? I mean, wow, what a dinner. What a dinner. You had to almost roll yourself out of there. But after this dinner, what happens? We all decide that we're going to go on the Las Vegas Ferris wheel.
With an open bar, Bob.
With an open bar. I'm telling you. And that was so, I don't know how many people we stuffed. It must have been 15, 18 people, something like that we stuffed into
we had 50. Well, with the big ones with the bar, I think you can put up to close to 30, 40 people on there.
Well,
and I tell you, that was fun.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun. And then from there, we were just getting started. We decided to go to the Paris and go dancing.
Oh, and what a time that was. They had a great group that was playing good music, and we had so much fun there. And it was funny because on our way back, we Ubered, because I drove, but there was no way I was going to even try to drive. I go, I'm going to have a good time. I didn't drive it. I didn't come this way just to be a chauffeur, so let's Uber. And now, because it's funny, because before, you couldn't Uber in Vegas because the taxi drivers, because of the union and so forth, they wouldn't allow the Uber. Now Uber's there, so it's a lot cheaper. Because it was funny because we were looking at the prices for taxis, and it is just astronomical.
Oh yeah.
So thank God for Uber. But then on the way back from there,
you hit a home run on the way back, buddy. You hit a home.
That was great.
Yeah.
I wish everybody that could have easily fit 15 people in there. We should have done that from the get go, but we have the card, so. The best teacher's experience. You learn through your experiences, and so the next time it's in Vegas, we know what to do. We need to get that coach and have a good time and do that.
Yeah,
that was just so much fun.
That was. So listen, we've got about 1 minute left. 2 if we stretch it.
Okay, well, we got to do the wine picks. We had such incredible wines.
Yeah, I'm
going to give my 2 wine picks that we did this weekend.
Okay.
And I have to go. We at Bobby B's house, we had that 06 Leonetti Cabernet that, oh my God, was showing. And my it's fun because our first show we did, we were up in Oregon. And I'm saying, we gotta get to Washington. And my 2 favorite Washington wines, of course, is Cressida Creek, which scores 100 points. I think they had like 300-400 point wines. And also Leonetti. They've had 100-point wine or so, or number 1 rated wine. And that was just delicious. But I tell you, my other, of course, is that 2013 Terra Roja. That was beautiful right now, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, John. I mean, it was good right now, and it's gonna get so good.
Oh, in 5 years, it's going to be phenomenal. But, I mean, you can buy a bottle, open it up, and it is just unbelievable right now. So,
if you can buy a bottle, because, boy, I'll tell you what, folks, hard to get.
Yeah. I mean, she only made 200 in some cases, and I'm sure a number of the cases were sold that evening. So, but amazing. Just, drinkability and is going to last. Well, it's funny, we were talking about the 11s. The 11s are finally starting to show up. I mean, it was her 11 was one of the higher rated 11s out there. So, just a fun weekend. And that was probably my 2 wines. We had so many different wines, but probably my 2 highlighted wines was that Leonetti and that 13 Terra Roja.
Well, they were absolutely magnificent. Hey, John, we are out of town. This whole conversation is taking me back to Las Vegas. We're out of time. And so listen, I'm looking forward to next week's show. We'll get together for that. And you and I are going to see each other tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay safe. Don't let anybody, aim at you on the freeway and try and stay dry, John.
That's something you do, but I'll try.
All right. You take care, buddy. Now, the rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then right after that, we'll do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Don't go away. We've got a lot of great show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time, still going down 63 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, and it's raining out there, but it's on its way to 58 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network, and you're in Auckland, New Zealand, listening to our show, well, it's 63 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, well, it's 70 degrees and it is clear. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is, hey, ask customers to commit a little at a time. You know, closing a sales deal isn't something that you should do at the end of the linear process. If you wait and ask your customer to make a purchase commitment after you've been working with them for a while, they're likely to give you a socially acceptable rationale such as price, which may not be the real barrier to buying, by the way. It's better to hear any objections early on when you can still do something about them. So ask your customers to make small incremental comments along the way. Periodically, prompt prospects to confirm that they agree with the data or objective that you cited, and then ask them if they'd be willing to act on that agreement through some small action, such as sharing the information with others in their organization. If the person commits, you can move on it. If not, you should identify the objection or barrier and deal with it. As a general rule, the earlier you can identify objections, the more likely the sale will occur. That's just a real fact, folks. Well, you know what? It's time for us to give you the secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You hear me say it all the time. You are in total control of your life. You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, a success, or a failure. You decide if the people around you are going to be happy. You do that every single morning when you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a fantastic, productive, profitable day today. It's going to be magnificent, and I'm going to make everybody around me happy. You decide that. Nobody else does. You do it to yourself. So the teaching for today is absolutely nothing is impossible for the universe to manifest. If you're feeling that what you want is too big for the universe, take a walk outside, look around you, and think about our planet. The oceans, the plains, the forests, the jungles, the animals, the trees, and every piece of vegetation on our planet. Look up into the sky and think about our solar system, our Milky Way, and all the millions of galaxies that contain billions of stars that go on forever. The infinite intelligence of the universe created it all. Then think again about what you are wanting and how big do you think it is now? Not so big, huh? Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what today is, right? Everybody knows what today is. Well, maybe not everybody knows what today is, but it's Monday, October the 24th, and it is somebody's birthday. It helps if we hit the right buttons around here. Anyway, we've got some great birthdays for you today, and right now I want to tell you about them. The first one is somebody born in 1936, best known as a bass guitarist for the English rock and roll band, the Rolling Stones, from 1962 until 1992. Happy birthday, Bill Wyman. And then here's somebody that a lot of you'll know, or you've certainly seen him. He was born in 1947, an actor who won the Academy Award, 2 Tony Awards, and was nominated for an Emmy Award in 2009. Happy birthday, Kevin Kline. Yeah. And then finally, born in 1980, a fashion designer who in 2000 received a big break after a dress he made for Naomi Campbell. Happy birthday, Zach Posen. Yeah. Well, you ever wonder what was going on today in history? You don't have to wonder anymore, because I'm going to tell you. On October the 24th, 1901, Annie Edison Taylor becomes the very first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Yeah. And in 1911, Orville Wright remained in the air for 9 minutes and 45 seconds in a glider at Kill Devil Hills in North Carolina. Yeah. And in 1929, Black Thursday stock market crash on the New York Stock Exchange. And then finally, in 1945, founding of the United Nations. Yeah, something good happened, huh? Back then? Well, let me give you the quote for today. The quote for today comes from the Dalai Lama, and he says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Profound, huh? Yeah, really is. Well, you know what? We've got a little bit of time. I want to talk to you a little bit about interesting but useless facts. You'll find you're going to enjoy this. I promise you're going to enjoy this. Matter of fact, I know you'll enjoy this because we do it all the time. So if you do enjoy it, make sure you don't ever leave our show till we've done it. Here's the one. The very first novel ever written on a typewriter, Tom Sawyer. Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah. How about this one? The Red Cross is called the Red Crescent in Arab countries. And a violin can contain up to 70 separate pieces of wood. Did you know that? Yeah, to get that beautiful sound. And the amount of tropical rainforest cut down each year is an area the size of, ready for this? Tennessee. Wow, can you imagine? And that rainforest, folks, provides a major portion of the oxygen that we all get to breathe on a worldwide basis. So keep that in mind. Did you know that the number one reason people choose to buy a wireless phone is for safety? Nearly 50% of those who own wireless phones purchased it for safety and no other reason. Yeah. And did you know a gorilla can live for 40 to 50 years? Yeah. That's pretty good. How about this one? Did you know that at the age of 26, Michelangelo began sculpting his monumental statue of David? He finished it 17 months later in January 1504. And what a magnificent statue it is. I've had the privilege of actually seeing it. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, the apricot was called the egg of the sun? Yeah, that's kind of interesting, I guess. Well, let me leave you with this one. In 1986, Danny Heap became the very first player in the World Series to be a designated hitter, a DH, with the initials DH. Yeah, that's kind of good. Not bad. So listen, we're going to take a small break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story is The Old Man and the Gulls, and I'll tell you all about that. Yes, sir, right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 63 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, well, it's 55 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Madrid, Spain, it's 55 degrees and mostly cloudy. In either place, you're really lucky. But right now, it's time for us to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. Yes, sir. You know what? Paul Harvey is the biggest and best voice in America, reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. Paul is he was a phenomenal man. And today's story in tribute to Paul is The Old Man and the Gulls. You know, about sunset, it happened every Friday evening on a lonely stretch along the eastern Florida seacoast. You could see an old man walking, white-haired, bushy-eyebrowed, slightly bent. One gnarled hand would be gripping the handle of a pail, a large bucket filled with shrimp. There on a broken pier, reddened by the setting sun, the weekly ritual would be reenacted. At once, the silent twilight sky would become a mass of dancing dots, growing larger. In the distance, screeching calls would become louder. They were seagulls, come from nowhere on the same pilgrimage to meet an old man. For half an hour or so, the gentleman would stand on the pier, surrounded by fluttering white, till his pail of shrimp was empty. But the gulls would linger for a while. Perhaps one would perch comfortably on the old man's hat, and a certain day gone by would gently come to mind. Eventually, all of the old man's days were past. If the gulls still return to that spot, perhaps on a Friday evening at sunset, it is not for food, but to pay homage to the secret that they shared with a gentle stranger. And that secret is the rest of the story. Anyone who remembers October of 1942 remembers the day it was reported that Captain Eddie Rittenbacher was lost at sea. Captain Eddie's mission had been to deliver a message of the utmost importance to General MacArthur. MacArthur was headquartered in New Guinea, and Rickenbacker was given a B-17 and a hand-picked crew to take him there. But there was an unexpected detour which would hurl Captain Eddie into the most harrowing adventure of his life. Somewhere over the South Pacific, the Flying Fortress became lost beyond the reach of radio. Fuel ran dangerously low, so the men ditched their plane in the ocean. The B-17 stayed afloat just long enough for all aboard to get out. Then, slowly, the tail of the Flying Fortress swung up and poised for a split second, and the ship went down, leaving 8 men and 3 rafts in their horizon. For nearly a month, Captain Eddie and his companions would fight the water and the weather and the scorching sun. They spent many sleepless nights recoiling as giant sharks rammed their craft. The largest raft was 9 by 5, the biggest shark 10 feet long. But of all their enemies at sea, one proved most formidable: starvation. 8 days out, their rations were long gone or destroyed by the salt water. It would take a miracle to sustain them, and a miracle occurred. In Captain Eddie's own words, Cherry, that was the B-17 pilot, Captain William Cherry, read the service that afternoon, and we finished with a prayer for deliverance and a hymn of praise. There was some talk, but it tapered off in the oppressive heat. With my hat pulled down over my eyes to keep out some of that glare, I dozed off. Now, this is still Captain Rittenbacher talking. Something landed on my head. I knew that it was a seagull. I don't know how I knew. I just knew. Someone else knew too. No one said a word, but peering out from under my hat brim, without moving my head, I could see the expression on their faces. They were staring at that gull. The gull meant food, if I could catch it, and the rest as they say, is history. Captain Eddie caught the gull. Its flesh was eaten. Its intestines were used to bait to catfish. The survivors were sustained and their hopes were renewed because a lone seagull, uncharacteristically hundreds of miles from land, offered itself as a sacrifice. You know that Captain Eddie made it. And now you also know that he never forgot, because every Friday evening about sunset on a lonely stretch along the eastern Florida seacoast, you could see an old man walking, white-haired, bushy-eyebrowed, slightly bent. His bucket filled with shrimp was to feed the gulls, to remember that one which on a day long past gave itself without a struggle, like manna in the wilderness. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, on my next show, join me and Sean LaFave as we talk about the healthcare on his Geared for Wellness Corner, and I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.